Today we pick up where we left off in Psalm 103 at verse 6. And we're given yet more reminders of why we can approach God blessing his name with all of our soul, and what those benefits are that we ought not forget that come from God to us in our lives as well and into this world. Here's what it says in verses 6 and 7. The Lord works righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed. He made known his ways to Moses, his acts to the people of Israel. This takes us all the way back to the book of Exodus, just the second book of the Bible, where the condition of the people of Israel at this time is that they are living under harsh slavery, under the Egyptian people, that they're being tortured and even killed because of the harsh conditions that the Egyptian rulers are putting them under. And at the end of chapter 2 of the book of Exodus, we hear this about the people of Israel, that they groan because of their slavery, that they cry out for help, and that the cries of rescue that they shout out rise up to God, who hears them, who hears the cries of help of the people of Israel, and then who remembers the covenant, the promise that he made with their forefathers, with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And then it says this: God heard them and he knew. Often when it says God knows something in the Bible, it means he's about to act for the good of his people, for the good of those who are hurting. This is a wonderful affirmation then in Psalm 103, that God hears the cries of people who are oppressed, of all who are oppressed, of all who are treated unjustly, of all who are suffering in this world, whose lives are in a rough place, sometimes because it's caused by others, and even sometimes because it's caused by ourselves. We're oppressed under our own foolishness, under our own poor decisions at times, our own sins. And God hears our cries. He hears the cries of all those who are oppressed, and he knows us, which means he's about to act. It says that the Lord works righteousness and justice for all who are oppressed, which means that the Lord makes things right. That's what God does. He comes to those who are hurting and suffering, and he makes things right. In verse 1 of Psalm 103, one of the lines as we're being encouraged to bless the Lord is this. It says, bless his holy name. Well, the name of God is introduced to us in a unique way in the book of Exodus, as God comes for his people to rescue them from slavery, to bring them out, and to lead them on the way to the promised land. Where they will delight in his presence and live as his people. And as he comes to his people to rescue them, to make things right for them, he invites them to know him by revealing his name. And his name that he gives to his people to call him by is Yahweh, which means he will be. God will be. God will be what? Well, that's what we discover in the book of Exodus and really throughout the scriptures. That God will be present for his people. That God will be with those who cry out to him for help, who cry for rescue. God will be with them. And he will act. for justice and for righteousness, and he will set us free.